Salutations to foes. This is your fabulous lady, the Queen of Shade, coming at you with another special presentation. I am truly enjoying all of the support that I am receiving in this new chapter of my life where I'm getting to know you guys. I'm collecting your stories. We're getting to know each other better. We're reflecting and we're sharing. And it's just so positive and so amazing. And I'm just so grateful to be doing it. Bringing new people to you every time I come to this camera, that is just something that I love to do. I've done that on my social media. I always love showing you someone new. So with having said that, I have someone new that you need to meet tonight. This young man and I've known him on social media for a while, and he's always delivered content that was excellent. The word excellence comes to mind when I think of this man. And you're going to get to know him and understand why. And we're going to have that chat right now. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Mr. Ahmin Lambacker.
Hey guys, hello.
Hi.
A pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor.
You know what I love about you? You know how to, you know entertainment. You got your light ready, your camera ready. I'm enjoying it. You understood the assignment.
Oh yes, absolutely. I am not a stranger to this world of entertainment. Definitely, it's been a while in it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're gonna get into it. So first of all, tell me, Lambacker. That is not a name that you hear very often.
With most brown people.
Yeah. So please tell me, like, where does that come from? I mean, Lambacker.
Well, actually, that's on Dad's side. Dad basically comes from Mali. Well, Mali also, the history of Mali is more of the Moors. I come from a legacy of Moors. I'm very proud of that. The reason why the world is what it is because of that contribution. In the process, I believe there was a marriage of his mom and the stepfather. The stepfather happened to be German, so it's a German name. A lot of times you'll hear Lamberg, Limwood, those kind of limbs. For some reason, that comes from the German area. But still, it's a strong African connection there. We still dominate it.
I like that. I like that a lot because it's just when you said it to me off camera, I was just like, wow, that's such a striking name. Like that's a very striking name. It's one you remember immediately.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I was very curious about that. So how are you tonight?
I am very good, despite all that's going on. I'm an Aquarius, so we kind of know how to stay in our lane or mind with the positivity if we choose to stay on that path. If we decide, we can go on a destructive path as well. But if we choose a path of goodness, then we can stay in that no matter what is crumbling around us. So that's where I'm at. I'm in a good place.
Okay, good.
Very blessed.
Where are you from?
I am originally from New York City, Flushing, Queens to be exact, where the nanny is.
Oh, wow. Are you still there?
No, actually, Dad is there. I actually moved to Atlanta. I would say maybe a few years after Mom passed.
Okay.
My godmother, who truly I realize what that means now because of our relationship that we had. She lived and was born in Atlanta. Me and a friend came down there to Atlanta just to hang out one day. Met her at I think she was a manager at a candle shop. And we took a liking to one another immediately. Even to this day, almost 30 years later, we still tease each other by saying, I can't believe I did that. I think I'm 6 years younger than she is. But at the time, I needed that last bit of mothering, and she had it. So that's why I say she truly is a God-sent godmother. That is truly what the word is. And so she allowed me those 2 years that I wouldn't say robbed, but it was just a different atmosphere trying to take care of my mother and be an adult. When in fact, truth be told, I was really a child my own self, teenager.
Wow. Wow. So
So here,
you've got quite a story already.
oh yeah,
Quite a story already.
many
But
lives, many lives.
yeah, many lives, but that's okay. That's all right. We welcome
Hmm.
that. And it's great because what I hear is that you, like many of us, had to find strength within yourself,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
and where it was given, and where you took where it was given, and you cultivated it, and you
Right.
moved on, and you grew, and you became.
Hmm.
And one thing that I didn't want to blurt out immediately is that you are a published model.
Yes, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I've been doing this prior to social media. I'll probably end up telling my age by just the state in terms of the years. But I started off 21 years old in New York. Me and my mom walking down the streets of New York, teasing one another. And there was a woman behind us as we crossed the street. The next light that we came to, which in New York, there's lights after lights after lights. You can walk
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
She said, "Hey guys, I don't mean to interrupt, but I love the dynamic of the two of you all's relationship. I'm assuming this is your mother, but I love how you all just have this loving, carefree vibe. Have you ever thought about modeling?" Now, initially in any other city, that would have been a compliment or something to say, "Ooh." In New York, we started the whole, shall we say, fast money situations. So when somebody says that, you're like, okay, let me tell you. In fact, I actually blurted it out and said, look, I'm not interested in doing porn. Because that's the first thing out of people's mouth. It's like, okay, here we go with this modeling stuff. Yeah, not interested. She was like, no, I'm not with a porn. No porn, not here. I'm actually with Wilhelmina. Have you ever heard of it? I knew nothing about modeling. So I immediately said no, but my mother was into that fashion, and she was into that entertainment world. So she was like, yeah, Whitney Houston and Ahmad. She actually, all of them are in that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll take your card and we'll think about it. And went home. Week later, came there, they signed me, and I started with them. I like how things are done now. As I've gotten older and understand about owning yourself and controlling your own self, for me, and that's no slight against any agencies at all, I think right now with the social media, this is a blessing for a lot of true entrepreneurs to actually make it. So there's no middleman. So if you're not making your money, that's because you're not doing what you need to do. You're not putting on the hustle.
Exactly. Do you know every fashion model, every model I've had on here so far has said the same thing. They're so thankful for it not necessarily having to be a middleman, that like the client can literally DM you and say, hey, we're interested in this, or we're interested in that. But I am fascinated that you came from an era where that fashion, especially in New York, that was such an elite that was such an elite time. It couldn't get to as many people, but the whole idea of being a model then, Wilhelmina and Ford and all of those big time agencies. My God, that was a good time.
They knew how to groom you. And what I mean by that, even if we take it back to the Motown, that whole grooming you, just not throwing you out there saying, let's see if you can make us some money back. But it was, wait a minute, I think you're a diamond in the rough. Let's polish you. Why don't you go to this particular fitness instructor? Let them work on the body parts that really are better for you, that can actually get some money, sell you. Those kind of things. Work on your skin a little, drink a little bit more water, less off the liquor, stay away from the drugs, although, they still exist. I definitely came from the era of that as well. Thank goodness delivered from it, but definitely came from that whole world. So it's just grooming you. So where when you came to go see, you were ready. If you didn't get that job, it wasn't meant for you, truth be told. There could have been a little, isms in there, but you were ready. You had your game on at all times.
You brought up something that I often keep to myself, but that a lot of young models are not used to. And
Yeah.
that is the fact that when you work for a modeling agency, they are not, a good one is not just throwing you out to see what kind of jobs you get. They
Exactly.
groom you.
Exactly.
Like
Because they believe when they actually looked at you,
yep.
they saw, I don't mean to say it like that, but it's the truth. They saw dollar signs. They
Yeah.
saw that they can make you.
Yeah.
So truth be told, these things where you have to pay
Yeah.
in order to get the representation, that's not it.
Yeah.
That means that they don't have that much faith or they don't have the connections that you're needing.
Yeah.
If someone believes in you, they know they're going to make their money back. So they want to front you.
Yes.
And they know to get the money back.
Yes.
That's a true agency.
That was the era when there was real trust.
Yeah.
The agency, trust between the model and their agent.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many boys, and even I was one of them,
Yeah.
you get signed and there's no work. They're not grooming you. They don't send you for lessons, runway, remember runway classes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So, so get this, back in the early 2000s, I was going to try my hand in fashion and I wanted to be a model. And I went to Barbizon. Now,
yes, I remember. Yeah.
Now, what I liked about Barbizon was the grooming. Absolutely. They taught us, all the turns, all the walks, how to carry your jacket, how to sit down, unbutton your jacket. Like these were things that models of a certain era were getting, but new models didn't know how to do. And I was kind of like led to them. So they really like taught how to tie ties, full Windsor, half Windsor, a lot of things today that models do not know.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Absolutely.
How to take your jacket and fold it inside out and put it in your travel bag and have it not be wrinkled when it comes out, and bring with you a black pair of shoes and a brown pair of shoes, depending on what the outfit would be.
Oh yeah, you're
knowing how to have. Yeah, you see, like that was the early 2000s, and I was a newbie then, but they were still and I think like that time at Barbizon, I fell in love with fashion for real. I fell in love with the clothing. I fell in love with the professionalism. It wasn't just let me get my ass on a runway, walk down, walk back. We learned, different things. There were different turns you did, 4/4 turns, different half turns, And
you wouldn't walk for the same designer as you would another one. There was always, you had to understand who your designer was. So you had to do your own research too, to actually say, okay, this Calvin Klein is different from a Dolce & Gabbana. So you can't walk the same way.
Right.
Though we see now, it looks like carbon copy sometimes. You're like, my goodness, do you do that walk for everyone? And truth be told, a lot of times the answer is yes.
But you know what else too? You know what else? I'm going to jump in and let you finish. But they killed the personality. Remember how models used to have, you could become famous because of your personality. Pat Cleveland. I remember Pat Cleveland coming down the runway and Mugler, and she's, she's doing this and she's doing that. And you hired Pat Cleveland for that. A lot of people
gave you theatrics.
Yes.
Bethane, absolutely.
The good
old Bethane. She swears that she was not a beautiful model. I beg to differ, as well as the world begs to differ. She had it. I remember when she did. I saw on Instagram. I wasn't back in those days, but I saw on Instagram. It was something that she did back in the 70s. And she literally, as they say now, slayed the runway. Literally everybody got up and just began to applaud. That's what I'm talking about. That's a true model.
That's a true model. And that was the thing. I spent, it was so crazy. I spent the beginning of my career trying to be so gaunt and lifeless. I spent like dead. And the crazy thing is I don't call it a catwalk for me, because I've always walked that way. I always walk one foot in front of I always walked one foot, just being who I am. My brother does too. My brother's 35, not interested in modeling, and he walks the same way. One foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other.
It's just a natural thing.
Yeah. So I just remember trying to be so lifeless. And I also remember my career not taking off until I showed personality.
So there you go. Yeah, because there's so many beautiful people out there.
Mhm.
So many beautiful people. If we can take Naomi Campbell,
Yeah.
beautiful woman.
Yeah.
But what sets her apart and what still sets her apart is her personality.
Yep.
Yes, she has the baddest walk that you
Yeah.
can ever see.
Yep.
But underneath that, people wanted to know, who is this woman?
Yep.
Who is this woman that is commanding the stage like that? And her personality just sucks you into where you're like, I don't know why I'm fast. Let me click another Instagram. What's she doing now?
Yeah.
That's that personality. And we need that. Everybody needs that.
That's being in the real business of being a model,
Yeah.
showmanship.
Yes.
Showmanship.
Yeah.
That's what, I'm not going to lie, today, that's what the industry is missing. But I
Yeah.
also noticed that today there's an absence of color.
Ooh, oh Lord, yeah. That's one of the reasons why, for me, if I can be honest, the reason why I stepped back so
Mhm.
much from that side of the
Mhm.
modeling and
Mhm.
was so happy. And I think a lot of us brown people are
Yep.
so happy that the social media has come out, because now you see just how beautiful we are. We've always been.
Yes.
There's nothing new about us. But now you realize other people as well. So the ones who gave the stamp of approval, it was a small group of them. But when you put us out there for social media to see, a whole audience is like, who is that?
Yep.
I want to see more of that.
Yep.
I want to aspire to be that. And
Yep.
they realized that particular, whatever you want to call it, that they were trying to make us all fit in, which
Yeah.
we never did.
Nope.
That's actually the minority, not us. We're actually the majority.
You know, I got the opportunity to go to Paris when I was 22. That was 2005.
I love Paris.
Yeah, and I got the opportunity to go as a model, and it was hard.
Mm.
It was so hard. I
Oh,
live, I
yes.
live with mental illness, but bipolar type
Mhm.
1, PTSD, and acute anxiety disorder. But guess what? It's nothing new. A lot of artists do have these same things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
it just was so difficult because I left my homeland. I had never been out of the US ever before, you know,
Oh, wow.
and literally Boss Model Management in New York were the ones that said,
Mhm.
you know, they pulled me out of line and said the director was like, you have the look, you have the height, you have the walk, you have everything.
Mhm.
You won't work in New York. You need to go to Paris. And
Yeah.
based on this white man telling me I need to go to Paris, yeah, I jumped my ass on the first time for a plane, first time for anything. Made a friend in Paris, stayed with a friend, and literally began my career, and had to leave because of, you know, getting sick, mental illness. It was just too much. But
Oh, yeah.
what I loved was the people that I met. And
Mhm.
I find that you don't have those people, too many of those people here now anymore, is
Yeah.
because, like, even while I was there, I met the editor, the fashion editor of Essence magazine. Her name was Ionia Dunley.
Oh,
I
wow.
met her, and of Essence, and what she said to me, I will never forget. That's why I keep saying it. I bring it up often. She said to me, because what happened was, it was the women's season. I wasn't yet comfortable with this yet, but they kept trying to nudge me, like, you can do this,
You can,
do
yeah,
this,
yeah.
you can do
And
this.
you were like,
You can do this here. This is Paris. You can do this here. You can do this here. And I was like, I don't know. And I didn't know. But what she said to me is, she said, you need to utilize every talent that you have to arise a respected opinion in this field. And I didn't know what she meant until now.
Hello.
I'm using everything.
Yeah.
Commentary, singing, the look of fashion. I'm using every journalism,
Right.
because she said to me
Yeah.
again, she was like, you could be a freelance fashion journalist. She's like, you got into more shows than a lot of people. You saw a lot.
Absolutely.
You could turn that into a business for yourself.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's just so, I love when I get fashion people on here, because then
Yeah.
I get to talk.
I love that.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know?
It's it's my thing. It is my
Yeah.
thing.
So tell me your favorite men's designer, like suits and things like that. Who's your favorite designer?
Favorite designer at this particular time of suits, Tom Ford.
Mhm.
Tom Ford, not only does he know how to dress a woman, he knows how to really dress a male.
Yeah.
And I mean that classic look, like no matter where you're going, no matter what you're going to do when you get there,
Yeah.
you can find, he makes a suit and some pants and a shirt and a tie. And that's it. You can go anywhere. And then you can even down-dress it by having a pair of jeans on and a loafer, and that's it. He's timeless. That's the word that I would use with Tom. Tom is timeless, and that goes for men as well as for women. Absolutely.
You know, I don't think today's young generations realize that runway shows are for rich people to buy clothes that they're going to wear.
Yes.
They're
Hello.
going to wear them. You know, you as a, like it was another thing I had to tell people, like, you know, people, like I used to say this is my opinion.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree. But I always, in the room, walking into a room full of fashionistas, and I saw the poodle ladies with one head black and one side, you know, and they dogs that the same way. You know, so I always said, like, the model was the lowest member in the room.
Yes, it's the
because
truth.
the model is the hanger.
That is it. That is it. We are hangers. And the moment people understand that, then they can say a thing like, you know, that supermodel thing, it can't get to your head too much.
Right.
You're just a model. If you're blessed to still be working, you're a working model. And leave it at that. Let everybody else put those extra labels. But truly, you are a glorified hanger.
Yeah.
And it's okay. I'm not downgrading it, but I'm putting it in its proper perspective. That's exactly what it is. So you are absolutely right. We were hangers.
Yeah.
Hangers.
And you know what I realized, like, even all these years later, now I have my sense of fashion. I went to Paris, I have my sense of fashion. I know what's chic, I know what's good. But at the end of the day, I'm not a hanger anymore.
No,
I can't be a hanger. Like, and that's the thing. Like, and you realize that people are like, are you a model? No, baby, I'm not. And like when you, like, I used to, like when I used to get those compliments, and it used to make me feel so good. Like, you know, you have the look, you have the height, you have this, but then I realized, like, no. Now I have a personality. Now I have a presence. Now I have this fashion icon I've created to be, you know, and there's so much more.
Absolutely.
But to this day, like I was going to, before the pandemic hit, I opened my doors. I was going to start a male modeling agency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But now I closed the doors because of the pandemic. But now I'm getting ready to make some moves to where I will live outside of the US, and I'll probably start it there. So yeah. But like,
and that's a very good thing of moving out. A few of my friends and I truly had planned on moving on the, let's see, my birthday came around of January the 20th. Kobe had died, or was in that fatal accident. That it was still, I was on vacation with friends, and we were in Brazil.
Okay.
And we were all sitting by the beach area, and we were just like, you know what? I think we need to, we have the means to go ahead and make another life. Yeah. So why don't we do it? Instead of all this talking, let's just do it. Let's do it. So I was actually going to move to Paris. That was my plan. And shortly thereafter, February came around. And then all of a sudden, God laughed at my plan and said, bless your heart. You're staying here in the United States along with so many other people until I say so. But we appreciate your plan. Appreciate it.
You know what's so crazy? I'm going to end up seeing you, because that's where I want to live.
Hey, absolutely.
I left my heart in France. I'd never visited anywhere like that. That place. Just,
it's New York, but at a different level. You still get various people, but now you get them various people from around the world, bringing their culture, bringing another language in, that I'm so glad. A lot of times I spoke to a couple of good friends that are in Paris, that are born and raised, and they said, one of the things about you Americans that makes us so upset, and we purposely will act as though we don't speak any English, is because you all come to our country and you all expect us to try to learn your language. I wish more of you all understood what this was about and how disrespectful that is. Then you would get more of us to open up So I recognize that but that's what's going on. That's what's going on.
I'm
You literally
learning French. I
impose.
am learning French. You know what the crazy thing is too? They told me like learn the language, but sing in English.
Yeah,
They told me learn the language, but sing in English.
there you go.
Yeah, they told me
There you
sing
go.
in
That's the
English
truth.
because we want the whole notoriety of an American in Paris.
Yes,
But learn,
absolutely.
learn the language. Even when
Ab-
I was there, I could understand more than I spoke.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I could understand more than I spoke. But every day, I used to go to the gardens of Tuileries near Concord
Oh, oh,
in Luxembourg. I
yes.
every every day, every day I
Mhm.
was there. And I just, you see those in movies, those tree lined pathways, and they
Oh
actually
yes.
have them. And I remember standing in the middle of all of that saying, I have found my destiny.
Uh-huh.
I don't know
Yeah,
what I'm going to do, but I'm going to live here. I'm going to live here.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
magical. It's a
Mhm.
magical place, especially
Mhm.
for adults. That's our Disney World. When
Yeah.
you go to Paris,
Yeah.
definitely, especially if you're in the arts,
Yeah.
you can't help but be swept away by that
Yeah.
place. There's so much art
Yeah.
there of different
Yeah.
sorts.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
you travel a lot. How is this
Oh yeah.
possible? How is this possible?
Well, I became a flight attendant
Uh-huh.
by way of I was doing a show in New York,
Uh-huh.
and one of my model mates was like, "Hey, why are you? Have you ever thought about being a flight attendant?" Said flight attendant. Well, I have traveled a lot, and I do. I'm an explorer by nature.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it. They said actually, a couple of major airlines are hiring at this time. Check it out. Just put it in. Don't think anything about it. Just put it in. Leave it alone. Let the universe deal with it. And that's exactly what I did. So I applied to Delta. I applied to American Airlines, and I applied to United.
Wow.
All three called me back. I chose American,
Yeah.
and it still is. It was a right choice for me. I don't know what would have happened with the Delta situation. I love Delta.
Yeah.
Got some great friends, but I chose American. And my first trip ever was going to Tel Aviv. I was scared to death. I had never been there. Scared to death because you hear the things, even in my training, I put in red markings, avoid Tel Aviv, because
Right.
it was dealing with the bombing, all of this going on. It's a lot of mayhem. Well, that was the trip that was assigned to me. And you, especially as junior as I was and new, you dare not turn it down. There's no such thing as no. No means you're going home.
Yeah.
So I accepted it. I was so nervous, went in there and had the best time. A
Wow.
long trip of literally, it was about 12 hours going,
Yeah.
13 and a half coming back. The
Wow.
layover there, amazing. And then that's when I was like, I am where I need to be career-wise with this particular career.
Yeah.
After which, my first trip that I took on my own, it was Egypt.
Yeah.
Egypt. I literally, after working, I come in through what we call a red eye. So I came in from LA at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
There was a flight leaving on, I don't know if we can name other airlines, but
Right.
this international airline,
Right.
this is a very sophisticated one. They were leaving to go to Doha, and then you'd have to do Doha, Qatar to Cairo.
Yeah.
And they were leaving 3 hours from now. I didn't have that much sleep, but I was like, you know what? These excuses, and you're going to be using excuses all your life not to go anywhere.
Right.
There is an 11-hour plane ride. Find some way to go to sleep,
Yeah.
but take your butt there and find out what you've been reading online and doing book reports all your life. Stand in front, touch what you have been reading.
Right.
And that's exactly what I did. Nobody went with me. I knew nobody. All I did was use my little smartphone, make it, it's as smart as a person who's using it.
Yes.
And I just looked up everything. I looked up everything from the hotel, how to get there, where to go, what to expect, the customs, how to handle yourself, and just went there. And literally, the universe laid a clear path. Everything just fell into place. I met great people there. I did a private tour of the pyramids. I went inside and touched the pyramids, rode on a camel and saw the Sphinx and everything. And that began the journey of, now I think I've been to 43 countries in my small amount of time. Wow. 43 countries around this world, which is, truth be told, as I look, it's a small amount, but I'm still grateful, still blessed for that.
No, that's a very good amount. That's a great.
Yeah.
No, but I was getting ready to say you are so true. You're true to form, because a lot of models, when they weren't working, they were flight attendants. They were flight attendants.
Absolutely, yes.
So when you said it, yeah, like but that's what happened. Like they went to fashion to flight attending, because but you know, for the girls, they you work in a plane, you meet your rich husband from another Come on
now. The whole game, especially back in the days, that was the thing, because to work up front, meaning in first class, that was seniority. You had to earn that.
Yeah.
You started off in what we tease to say steerage, which is really coach.
Right.
You started off there.
Yeah.
But everyone's desire, especially for the females, was to work up front, because if you worked up front, the chances of you snagging someone rich are high in probability. And if you had what it's, especially like we said, being groomed in those times as models, you've got the whole poise. So this man knew, I could take this woman anywhere. And not only would this be a trophy, but actually she can handle her own. I then take that into the homosexual world. We were like, well, wait a minute. They ain't just heterosexual people that are spending money up in first class. There are a lot of gay men that are up in first class, whether they know it or not. They're up there. So we decided, wait a minute, sweetie, not only can you work this, we can work it too.
Yeah.
And so that has been the ongoing thing now, to find your way up to the front so that you can see if you can snag one. That's the thing.
You know what I love about that, though, is that people don't understand that modeling is kind of like a very glorified, glamorous finishing school.
Absolutely.
And when you've got it like that, that's why you see so many wealthy people, they date models. They take models because she knows what dress to wear to this. She knows what shoes. She knows what stockings. She knows how to, she doesn't need somebody to do her hair. She's a model. She knows how to she knows how to accentuate her neck. And like it's a world of class.
Yeah. Absolutely. So when that man meets that woman, there's nothing that she needs except for just to give her the tools or the garments.
Yeah.
And she's got it. That's all we need. Just the garments.
That is so amazing. So that's how you've seen the world, as your flight.
Yes.
What is the right word? Is it flight attendant? Is it stewardess? What's the right word?
Well, flight attendant. Now, back in the days, stewardess was okay.
Okay.
But for some reason, around the time when a lot of barriers, and what I mean by that are things of, you can't say this.
Okay.
There were a lot of isms that were brought to attention. And so therefore they switched that word of stewardess, because back in the days, that was a word that was used to where you can kind of put down a stewardess. You can say whatever you want. The sexual harassment can begin and never end, and you really couldn't do anything. Pilots doing things, passengers, the squeezing of the butts. If you notice now, male and female, when you are on the plane, and if you are a passenger on board, and you're trying to get our attention, the worst thing you can do, it's better for you to say A before you actually touch us. Because there's a line and a history of that touching, where back in the days, they used to squeeze you behind, trying to be funny. There was nothing you can do about it. You can go to somebody, but actually, management is like, well, we really can't do too much because they're kind of paying our salary. Oh, sweep it on the rug. Well, now we
Wow.
know that we've got the power, and we know that we can make a whole lot of things happen to
Wow.
where now you don't find it. You'll find a flight attendant being very abrupt with you of what do you want instead of
Yeah.
how can I help you, or do not touch me. There's a call bell button, and there's also your mouth. So
Yeah.
those things, yeah. So that word stewardess, I think that's where all of the negative negativity comes in, and so then they decided to say flight attendant.
Finally. But
Okay.
so tell me, how was it like working during the pandemic? Because the airlines were in trouble. That was the first thing
Ooh.
that was all over CNN, is that the airlines were in trouble. How was that?
Well, it began, we knew something was up, I would say February 2020.
Mm,
We knew that this was not a cold or just a little flu season going on. We knew that this was going to make some headwaves.
uh,
Um, March was the determination of, okay, we are in a pandemic for real.
yeah.
They're definitely making this. Um, all of the internationals were taken away from us. So all of my trips thinking about going, because 2020 had just came around, I decided to go ahead and grow the beard for the first time in my whole life. I never had a beard before.
Right.
Just, making new things for this decade.
Right.
And all of a sudden, my trips that I had in my mind for 2020 were flattened. Trips, working trips, all of that. So initially, my routes were now domestic. So we were taking Philadelphia to LA.
Mhm.
Well, on a plane that holds 171 passengers, we only had 5 passengers at one point
Oh
in
my
time.
God.
So, starting out in April of this is when we kind of witnessed this. We were like, "Oh, this is good." Now, first flight attendant, that was a blessing. So we thought, "Oh, good, we'll throw food at them, give them a little customer service, a little kiss, kiss, kiss. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being with us." We go into the back and relax.
Right.
Well, as you thought about that happening over and over, well, if we only have 5 customers, how long do you think before they're going to really need us as flight attendants?
Exactly.
And so that became a worrisome. Luckily, the stimulus situation came out. So the
Right.
stimulus checks, the first waves came out around that springtime.
Right.
That opened a world up. And I will tell you this, it actually humbled my heart. I was actually humbled by a passenger that taught me about humility and don't get too full of yourself out here in these privileges.
Right.
When the stimulus check came around, people were now laid off. So not only did they have unemployment to hold on to, but they also had that stimulus money. So now people were sitting at home, 4,000 or more. Well, our flights, when we saw what was going on, we started to reduce the fares down considerably. So a flight going from Philadelphia to LA, that might have cost last minute $500 round trip. That was the best price it could be, was now going for $79 round trip.
Oh, child.
So what do you think with people that were stuck in the house for a month with one another who probably couldn't stand each other from the get-go,
Mhm.
were now finding that there were 79 tickets to go anywhere. This is their time to actually travel that have never traveled before. So with my pompous attitude, I meet the passengers and I'm wondering, why can't they understand that, all you need to do is look at the bins and you can see your row number. I was getting people come up to say, well, where do I sit? And I'm thinking to myself, what? So I think I must have said that out loud too loud. And I had a woman to come when everything was subdued. We were already in the air. We had already did our service. She came back then. She said, "Excuse me, may I talk to you privately for just a moment?" Very
Class.
nice. Oh
Class.
yeah, she gave me class. So
Yeah.
there was no reason. My guard was down. I was receptive. I was willing to listen. And she said, "I don't know if you remember or if you were even cognizant of what you did, but this is my first time flying. I have always wanted to fly, but due to finances, I never could do it.
Yeah.
I finally got this inexpensive ticket and I'm going to LA for my first time. I don't know anybody. I don't know even where I'm actually going to stay. But I know that I want to do this. I think she said she was 43 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She said, and what you did to me, please don't do to another person. You actually rained on my parade by placing your arrogance of that I should have known where my seat was to the point where you made my experience a little damp. When I tell you that killed my heart,
Yeah.
killed my heart, embarrassed me, which should have been, but definitely killed my heart. I profusely apologized to her. And that let me know in that moment, don't you ever treat another person like that. Everybody is to be treated like they're first class people,
Right.
regardless. So
Right.
that definitely.
But I
So
mean, but
now,
I can definitely understand where you were coming from as well, because I mean, you're stressed, you're in
right.
the pandemic, you don't know how long your
Yeah.
job is going to last. You don't know
Right.
if they're going
Right.
to keep you. Then there's
Yeah.
five
Yeah.
people here. And if it's only five people here, that means they're not going to keep us at all. So we're
At
flying
all.
our last, so you both were under stress. Well,
Yes.
and because even in her stress, she was trying to
Yeah.
take a trip to not have it be so stressful. So, take a
Right.
trip, relax, but you were both under stress. But I can understand what
Right.
you're saying, but I also could understand what you were saying, Libras, I see both sides, because
Yeah.
you're up here looking like, oh my God, this could be it. Like,
Right.
last time I checked, them stimulus checks, were like $1,500.
Yes,
Listen,
that was like, yeah, for someone who
but they only gave them
typically,
like twice.
well, they made do with them. They made they made do with those checks. I did not receive one. I was not
Right.
exactly happy, but we won't talk about that.
Right.
But no, I mean, people literally between the unemployment that they were getting and the stimulus situation,
Yeah.
they were bringing in like 4,000, 5,000.
Dollars.
Some of them had never received that in a month's time.
Yeah.
So I would hope that they invested it, but we'll leave that one
Leave
as
that
a hope.
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we saw that was 2020, the summertime. We also got a different demographic that was not used to flying and did not have the behavior skills or the class. So I was breaking up fights that in my 10 years, I have never broken up a fight. If anything, it might have been exchange words. All you would need to do is say, ladies or gentlemen, we are in public. We can't do that. And it would cease. Not now. You literally had to stand between someone and play referee. And I had to do that one time, which I had to make literally a speech in front of the entire plane. I was like, well, I'll probably be on YouTube. But two women with daughters that were right behind them as they cursed each other and said the nastiest words to one another over a seat. One person was seated in the wrong seat. You do all of this and your daughter's witnesses for this? I was very, very disappointed in them. So yeah, we were dealing with that. So I know you've seen, as well as the rest of the public has seen, a lot of these fights on board, this mask situation. Even now, almost 2 years later, we're still, put your mask on situation.
Yeah.
But we've taken off the alcohol.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let all your viewers know now, we have taken it off and we don't know when, because every time we think to put it on, either a flight attendant is being assaulted or there is another fight going on amongst the passengers and disturbing flights.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite some time before we see alcohol on the plane, unfortunately.
And you know what I'm hearing also? I'm also hearing that you didn't take leave during the entire pandemic.
I didn't. I stayed true. I will tell you, with the help of my doctors.
Yeah.
And also with what I do in terms of just natural herbs, keeping together the body, because even with this pandemic, it's a virus. And at the end of the day, your immune system is everything to fight against it. Even if you get it, it's all about your immune system fighting this off.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I and my doctors, we constantly are every third of the month. Yeah. I go ahead and I get tested. That's the biggest thing. The vaccine, wonderful. Yeah. But you got to know whether you got it. Because some people are asymptomatic. I've got the O positive blood. So I can have it. It won't affect me. but I go to hug somebody and all of a sudden they fall over to the left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I'm constantly doing that. For me, not thank goodness, but thank God that I've not had this.
Yeah.
I try to do everything as proper as possible, but sometimes we forget. I've been filmed in a club before in Atlanta, and invite a VIP. You know, we've had a couple of drinks. Your inhibitions come down. No excuse, but a reason. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh Lord, I didn't have that mask on the entire time. Oops. You know, we're human. You know,
Yeah.
it will happen. You know, it will
Yeah.
happen.
I've had several times where I got out of the car just very quick, rushing into a store, and I get in there and then I freak out because I don't have my mask on, and I run,
Yes.
I about face. And you know, you'll hear people saying, it's okay, we have masks. I'm like, I want my own. But what I love about you though, and what I hear from you is I know why you were scouted. I know why you were scouted at 21. You have tremendous class.
Thank you.
Tremendous class. And that's what most people forget.
Yeah.
That, you know, in the world, anytime you, because modeling is a job. They don't realize that. It's a job that can open you up to the elite of the world.
Yeah.
You gotta know how to freaking behave.
Yes.
You know, so
that is it.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't. And you know what's so funny? I don't think even now in my outfit as the Queen of Shade, when I first started, my reads were iconic. I was mad, I was cussing, I was doing this, I was doing that. And it got the attention. It went viral. And you know, and I will admit, I was dealing with some feelings and emotions behind the scenes of my career. But as I grew into this, I kind of put those things away to say, okay, now I am this, that, and the other. I still curse, I still say bitch at the end of every video. You know, I do. But what I love now is that I have the respect now.
Yeah.
They know. Like I've had people try to come into my comments. I read every comment. I block, I delete, you know, and then I notice that I have my followers, my supporters will say, oh no, don't come over here with this because she ain't even said nothing to you. Yeah.
There's a reason why the Queen of Shade.
Yeah, there's a reason. Yeah, and I have to remind them. I do have to. Yeah. I have to remind them. Like there is a reason. Like, but it's just. We don't have enough people talking about class, because class is not something you can buy. But you can be given pointers.
Yes.
And even when you may not be a fashion model, you may not be among elites all of your life, but sweetheart, you reading Vogue just like I am.
There you go. Yep.
You reading Harper's Bazaar, you seeing all of this stuff, you reading W. You know, like you seeing all of this, and then you watch these movies, and you know, then you know, the world is fascinated with Anna Wintour. Anna Wintour is a rock star. You know, I love her. She's a rock star. So you know, you see how she behaves, you see how she dresses. When I first came to modeling, I wasn't that. I wasn't what I am today. You know, but it was a school of learning.
Yes,
it was a school of learning. And even in Paris, when I didn't get signed immediately, every agent would come to me and say, but you're going to do something because you have, you know, good things going for you. They didn't want to flat out come out and say you're not a hooligan, but they, they would tell me you have a way about you and your carriage and your enunciation. I had my buddy said to me last night after our interview, he said, I watched our interview back and he said, your articulation is just, it's just
phenomenal,
good with words. And he said to me, he said, honestly, you caused me to realize, and he said, don't feel bad, but you caused me to realize I need to take speech lessons.
Absolutely. Yes, it's imperative. You might not be able to speak another language, but if English is it, do the best so that people can understand what you are saying, and people respect that as well. People will respect you even more when your words, it might not be the whole entire dictionary,
right?
But if you have those words down, definitely. I have seen it firsthand.
And it's so crazy because my first lesson is say please and thank you.
There you go.
Say excuse me or pardon me.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
do it with a smile,
mm-hmm.
like there are just little things that you can do, even if, because come on, I mean, I'm not saying, oh, I wasn't trying to say this. I wasn't trying to say this. Don't be mad at me, people, but my people, like if
Right.
you're on a flight, you don't ayo. I'm sorry. I said
Exactly.
ayo,
When I hear that,
boss,
I'm like,
yo boss. No.
yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm saying that is it has a purpose, because
Yeah.
like we said, you then are, the door is
Yeah.
open, because come on, the working class, like it's the world over here in America, we're working class. We work.
Yeah. Yes.
Europe,
Yes, we are.
they
Yeah.
come from hundreds of years of wealth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they probably own companies in America and you work for them and don't even know you do.
There you go. Especially that Middle East situation.
Yes, okay. Them sheiks and
Yes.
shahs and you don't even,
Takes the charge.
yeah, you don't even know that these people
Mhm.
are,
Yes.
so, and my thing is, for me, I never
Mhm.
felt like I needed to impress anyone. I never did.
Right.
But
Hmm.
what I felt though was one day I wanted to be one of them. I wanted to be
Yes. Yeah.
wealthy. I wanted to
Hmm.
have, and
Yeah.
let's face it, I say this often, and you may agree. There's a difference between a consumer mentality and an entrepreneurial mentality.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It's a
Yeah.
difference. There's a big difference.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, my attitude was, I may not be the richest in the room, but I want to be in the room.
Yeah.
And if you
Exactly. Yeah.
speak to me, you're going to look at me like, where are you from?
Uh-huh. You will not forget me when I leave out of that room.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I like, and that was the thing. And you know what was so fun? Oh, wow. It just, you just sparked my memory. I did. So get
Oh,
this. There was an agency in New York called Fusion. I don't think they're there anymore. This was the early
okay.
2000s.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the booker's name was Ron. So shout out to Ron. I remember you.
Mhm.
You were kind to me.
Mhm.
You didn't sign me, but you were kind to me. You were kind to me. So, but the thing was, he said something to me. I remember going in, and it was
Mhm.
to go see, it was Wednesday. They see the guys on Wednesday.
Okay.
They did, I think it was Wednesday or Friday, either one of those days.
Probably
But
Wednesday. Probably
yeah,
Wednesday.
probably
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So what happens is I'm in the office and there are other Black men. And I noticed
Mhm.
the pattern, because I'm from Philadelphia. I'm in Philadelphia now. So I would take the
Oh,
bus or take the train, go up to New York on
okay.
Wednesdays for the
Yeah.
go-sees at every agency. And I would do this religiously.
Okay.
No matter how many times they saw me, I would keep going back. So
Uh-huh.
I saw
Absolutely.
Fusion. Fusion, this is my first time. And my thing is, I grew up in a small suburb outside of Philadelphia called Willow
Uh,
Grove.
okay.
And okay,
Okay.
so that's where I was from. So get this. He's taken and he's talking to these young men. He's asking them, how tall are you? Your height, your measurements. People don't even know that anymore. You need to know that what's your inseam, what's your outseam, what's your neck size, 40 regular, 38 regular, like, what's long,
Mm-hmm.
38 long, 40 long. Our men today don't know these things.
Yeah, they were
But
like, what?
yeah, exactly. So this is, that's what's happening, what you just did, Lord. So this is what's happening at this agency. And he looks at them and he goes, thank you for coming.
And rightfully so.
Right.
Good. Yeah.
So turn
Next.
around and he pulls me. Now he sees me and I stood. And that was the thing.
Mhm.
I watched too much movie. I watched too many movies. I watched too many, like too much Barbara Streisand, too much Breakfast at Tiffany's, too much My Fair Lady. Like I love all that stuff. So I was watching that stuff as a kid. Come on, Dover,
Uh-huh.
your blooming ass. Like I did all of that. So
Okay.
he calls me and for me, I ascend. I don't just get up. I ascend.
This is a sin. Oh, yes.
So I stand and I knew, like, I wore like all black and it was tight, it was fitting,
Mhm.
long arms, long legs. It was a wintertime, but I still
Mhm.
long arms, long legs. So I stand and and this was the thing. He put his hand to his mouth and he watched me get up.
Mhm.
And he said, please follow me. And he set me
Mhm.
down at the desk and he said to me, he said, where are you from? And I said to him, I said, sir, I'm actually from Philadelphia.
Mm.
He
He
looked
said
at
no.
me. You see, you know. He looked at
Absolutely
me.
not.
He said, I don't mean any disrespect. He said, but where the hell are you from in Philadelphia where they speak as properly as you do?
Hello.
So then I said to him, I said, you're right. I'm from Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, a small suburb outside of Philadelphia, but I didn't think you'd know it. He said, I lived in Willow Grove.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
He said, and do me a favor. When someone asks you where you're from,
Mhm.
say Willow Grove. Don't
Oh.
say Philadelphia.
Mhm.
So he taught
Mhm.
me, and it
Yeah.
was a crazy thing because then it was a screen test, and I think I didn't get signed because I didn't go to the photographer to get the
Mhm.
pictures because you had to pay for them. I was
Oh,
struggling at that time. You have to pay for them.
uh-huh.
See, models don't know that today too. You're responsible for all of that. Even if they put
Hello.
it up front, they're gonna recoup
Yes.
it out your check. They don't understand that.
Absolutely.
So,
Tell it. Tell
okay,
it. Yes.
okay.
Yes. There is
Listen,
nothing for
I'm gonna
free.
have an agency, and I'm gonna be the first one to tell all these knuckleheads. Excuse me, this
Yes.
is coming out of your check. This is coming out of your pocket. So be
There's
serious. Go into these,
nothing
yeah. So don't
for
go in these,
free.
don't go in these photo shoots and just strip down. I need you in leisure, at leisure suits. I need you to wear clothes because you
Yeah.
paying for this. Yeah, yeah.
Catch it. That's so true. So true.
Yes,
Absolutely. So
yes.
true.
It's so I realized that I had something special
Hmm.
from an early age, like from them telling me. And even in Paris, when they didn't sign me, I got signed to 3 agencies in one day, but the agencies, these
Hmm.
contracts were not like you got signed to
Uh-huh.
to Wilhelmina. These
Uh-huh.
these contracts were okay. We're agreeing for a probationary period to try you out to see if
Okay. I
you
see what you're
book.
saying. I
To
see.
see if you book, we're going to call you if we have anything. And the only
Hmm.
reason I got those was because I shot with a famous photographer in Paris who passed last year, cardiac arrest.
Oh,
His name was Ernest Collins.
okay.
And he was from Chicago, but he made a big name for himself in Paris. And
Hmm.
I sat down like I'm doing with you, and we were having a conversation. And he said to me, he said, come back tomorrow, bring a white shirt, a t-shirt, a pair of jeans. And I said, but I can't afford to pay you. I can't afford, not yet. And he said to me, he said, listen here, honey, I didn't ask you about payment. He said, you're going to be famous here. He said,
Hmm.
I cannot let this opportunity to have you in my portfolio go. So you come back tomorrow. Yeah,
That's what I'm talking.
I always had things like that happening.
Uh-huh.
Like they
All
this
these little
shade queen, I always
blessings and
say,
favors.
yeah, like I always say, like this shade queen, she was in my life at different points. She just wasn't mature yet.
Right, right.
So I can't, he shot me and they said, who shot these pictures? I said, Ernest Collins. I had a photographer recently. His name is Henri. Her name is Henri, and
Mhm.
she's just amazing. She works out of Hollywood and out of Chicago as well. And she said the shot that he gave you, just the one shot alone, was so commercial you could be put anywhere. And I
Wow,
didn't even
wow.
realize it. I'm thinking, oh man, I didn't pose. I gave him the dumb deer in headlights look, instead of
But it
your
works. It
eyes be
works.
yeah. But she said to me, she said, the shot is still to this day so very commercial. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. But yeah, like even when I went to the agencies, they were like, keep trying now. Stick around.
Hmm.
Stick
Hmm.
around. Stick
Absolutely.
around.
That's the thing.
Yeah, stick around. And I mean, I had agents tell me we don't have a black market. Black people don't wear and can't afford our clothes. They told me that too. We don't have a black
Mhm.
market. We don't have an Asian market. Told us these two demographics of people cannot afford our clothes. Yeah,
Wow.
but
Wow.
see, I also have this uncanny ability where people tell me the truth.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
actually very glad that they told me because I didn't
Hmm.
want to waste my time. So,
Right. And
but
which,
at the
yeah. Yeah.
same time, it helped me switch gears. So then
Yeah.
that you can wear women's clothing. Fashion Week is rolling around. It's the women's clothing. Let me wear a t-shirt and jeans and my hair down.
Absolutely.
That's how I met the editors. That's how I got into shows. I had seats,
Hmm.
all kinds of stuff. I met people,
Hmm.
and because they said, "Oh, I used to have them. I would go early in the morning, and that was the thing. Like I was working, so I'd get up at 6 a.m. Show wasn't until
Hmm.
10. I'm standing outside the venue at 6 a.m. And they're like,
All right
oh,
now.
and I walk up, tall, long lane. I got my black hair, no blonde, black, just straight black, no contacts. And they're like, are you in the show? Yes, I'm in this
Yeah.
show. Well, come on in.
Uh-huh.
Well, come
I
on
love it.
in. Then I
I
try to
love
work
it.
my magic when I get in there, meet people and get cards and business cards and
All you need
exchange.
is
And
just to get a foot in the door. That's
yes,
it.
that's
Uh-huh.
it. Just get a foot in the door.
Yeah.
And this Queen of Shade, I'm so thankful for her because she was my foot. She was my foot.
Mm-hmm.
Now they calling for
Mm-hmm.
me. Come back to Paris. Come do this. Come do that. Come do this. And I'm going.
See?
I'm going. So,
Absolutely.
so I want to ask you if
Yes.
you could give any advice, speaking of class and things like this,
Mm.
to the young Black male model who, and I'm going to preface it like this, who constantly is in his underwear every shoot. If you were going to give advice to the male model, what would the Black male model today, what would it be?
Let's see. To my brown men doing underwear and the lingerie, male lingerie situation, one of the things that has to be stated within you, you've got to have your limit and your boundaries so that you can go in, because a lot of times with these photographers, some, not all, but some, depending on how you present yourself, if you don't already have that business sense when you are talking to that client over the phone, they already think that they can get over on you. And if you give them an inch, they will take the entire mile. And you will find yourself in an uncomfortable situation where you are regretful later on, whether that be that the picture comes out, everyone sees it, and you are embarrassed by it, or that you've experienced some assault, which it does not only happen with females, it happens with males.
Thank you.
So that you definitely have to have things business-wise. I know a lot of times with photographers, they will say to me initially, wow, over the phone, I felt so much business about you and everything was so matter of fact. And now you're coming in, I see now you are ready for the shoot. And this is about business for you. And I said, yeah, this has always been about business for me. What was your motive? Because I thought you told me that you were professional as well. And I've never been afraid to ask those uncomfortable questions. I want, if by chance you're up to something, I want you to feel uneasy. So I say to a lot of our males, stand up, talk. Stop this, with the face down, yo, what's up, oh, it's okay. No, you look them dead in the eye and you say, this is what I'm willing to do. I'm open to creative ideas, but I am not willing to do X, Y, and Z. I know right now, one of the things that I dated a photographer. Initially, we met each other in Africa, in Senegal. I was on vacation. He worked with the magazine New Face Africa, and he recently moved to Miami. This is about, I guess, 2018. And I was always fascinated with photography. So he said, why don't you learn, especially with this pandemic? You don't, right now, people are not doing too many shoots. There's not a lot of crew around. You need to learn how to actually take your own pictures. You need to be schooled into that. So that kind of alleviates, not only are you getting your model pay, but now you're also getting creative and photo, because you're doing it. So I'll take, for instance, the photo that I did today and put on my story for Carterwear. Shout out to Carterwear. I love their stuff. I did that. That was my creative concept. That was my creative vision. That was all the lighting. That was my camera that took that picture and took as many as it needed to. And then I had assistance from my friend by sending him off and saying, what do you think about, or sending him the pictures off, saying, what do you think about this? What can I do in terms of lighting a little bit more? So I'm constantly learning with that. I definitely ask that more people that are models, because that takes away, I don't mean to step on the photographer's foot, but why not get two earnings in one? This is all the entrepreneurship we're talking about. Why can't you be in front and behind that camera as well? So I would say those are the two things. Know what your boundaries are, go in there with a business sense, and then also go in there with also learning whatever it is so that you can cut costs and get that money in. Because that's the whole thing that we, us as models, especially now with the social media, are talking to you about, saying, you know what, I'm kind of happy I'm not with an agency,
Yeah.
because that 20% now
Yeah.
stays in my pocket.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I encourage people more entrepreneurship as possible.
Yeah, that was the very good advice, because that's what it is. I spent so many years, even when I was coming up, and people would be like, oh, well, you don't have success yet, and so you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, yes, I do. You need to have your own this, you did this, and do this, and do this.
Yes.
They're gonna I've been saying that since the early 2000s, and now they get it. See?
Yeah,
Now they get it.
finally, I feel this.
Now they get it. Now it's, oh, will you represent me? Oh, will you do this? Oh, will you do that?
Uh-huh. Yeah, you definitely, that business is, because this is business.
Yes.
The other thing about
$1 billion business.
Yes, absolutely, exactly.
Yeah.
And my thing, I always tell people a lot of times with these, what is it, the brand influence.
Yeah.
Love it. I think that's a wonderful concept.
Yeah.
But even with that, negotiate some type of financial monetary that you're getting, whether it be financially monetized,
yeah,
or if you're getting some residuals,
yeah,
or if you're getting some clothing.
Yeah.
I see a lot of times in other people's DM, some people have actually DM'd me and said, hey, someone wants me to brand influence their product. However, they're telling me that I would have to pay for that particular sweater, and it would be like 30% off. And I said, stop right there. Stop right there. That's not brand influencing at all. Nope. Not at all. That's not what that is about at all. That is somebody who wants you to buy their product and for you to take a picture, and they save money. Yep. I get the hustle. I'm not knocking that. But on the other end of that, you need to know what it is so that you know how to operate. If that's not what you're interested in doing, freebies and giving someone money, and all you want is just your face, for people to see how many likes you can get or whatever, then, it's cool. But if you're looking to make this into a business, that's not the way to go.
Listen, I don't do that. I have a rate.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me, because this was a very classy conversation. This made my day. Like when I tell you this made my day, you were the highlight of my day today. And I just thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me.
Absolutely.
Please tell everybody where they can, I'm going to put it in the description section, but please tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Okay. Well, Instagram, it's I am Ahmin. So IAMAH, M as in Mary, IN as in Nancy, L. That's Instagram. And then also you can follow me on Facebook, and that's my full name, Ahmin Lambacker. There that you can pull up. You can find out everything.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the classy vocal stylings of Mr. Ahmin Lambacker.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Say goodbye to the people.
Bye, guys. Bye, guys. And thank you so much for having me. I have been a fan, and I will always be. I always listen to your advice as well. Thank you so much for sharing yourself with us as well.
My pleasure. Don't go away.
Okay.